They call it the European Maldives, and for once the nickname might just live up to the hype. But Albania isn't just about turquoise waters and cheap prices. Over 5 days, we hit the road to see the real Albania. We visit the historic towns of Berat and Gjirokasta, cross a boardwalk to the monastic island near Vlora, drive across the dramatic Logara Pass, and stare into the depths of the Blue Eye. Join us as we discover the best of Albania, a country full of surprises. Let's hit the road.
Hi fellow travelers, this is Ken from Ken Travels 360. Right now, we're in the balcony of a hotel, Hilton Garden Inn in Tirana, and we're ready to check out and explore other parts of Albania.
Our road trip kicks off with a drive to Berat, one of the oldest cities in Albania, with historians dating it back to 2500 to 1800 BC. Berat is UNESCO World Heritage listed for its well-preserved Ottoman architecture, rich history, and breathtaking landscapes.
And if you wonder why this city is known as the City of 1,000 Windows, just look at this. You are looking at Mangalam Quarter, which is the old town of Berat. Look at all these white limestone houses. They are stacked like layers on a cake, with many cozy space windows. This gives the impression of a city adorned with thousands of eyes. All these houses were built in the old Ottoman architecture style. And the best place to see this is from the new bridge of Berat. Nearby, you will find Gorica Bridge, an iconic landmark in Berat, and is one of the oldest Ottoman bridges in Albania. The bridge was originally built in 1780 using wood, but in the 18th century, the wooden bridge was replaced by the current narrow stone bridge.
We spent some time strolling through the old town in the historic district of Mangalam, soaking in the charm of centuries-old white stone buildings and quaint alleyways. Nearby, you could find King Mosque, one of the oldest mosques in Albania. This Ottoman-era building is still in use today, and it features an intricately carved and painted wooden ceiling.
Sitting almost completely opposite from the King Mosque is the Gate of the Pasha. It was originally built in the late 18th century. You can see the formal palace of the Pasha directly through it.
So, the Pasha's palace was basically the governor's mansion back in the late 18th and early 19th centuries. The Pashas, who were powerful Ottoman governors, actually lived and ruled from right here.
Finally, a visit to Berat is not complete until you have visited the crown jewel of this ancient city, Berat Castle, which is perched atop a hill overlooking the town. This imposing fortress dates back to the 4th century BC from the Roman times, but most of the walls and structure that are still standing dates back to the 13th century, when the citadel was refortified.
You can wander through its labyrinth of cobbled pathways, walk along the fortified walls, and explore ancient ruins, many of which have stood here for centuries.
One of the most unexpected beauties that you will find is this enormous bust of Constantine the Great. This bust honors Constantine, the first Roman emperor to convert to Christianity. He was also the founder of Constantinople, the capital of the Byzantine Empire. The bust is located just under St. Mary of Bacchanae Church, a Byzantine church that's well worth a quick look for its original 16th century frescoes, most of which remain intact.
A few minutes walk from the church, you will find the Onufri Iconography Museum, housed in a stunning old cathedral. It showcases vibrant religious art by Onufri, one of Albania's most celebrated painters from the 16th century.
Berat Castle is home to the ruins of one of the oldest mosques in the country. Known as the Red Mosque, is believed to have been built in the early 15th century, shortly after Berat was conquered by the Ottomans. The red brick minaret of the Red Mosque stands tall above the castle walls, so you can't really miss it. The Church of the Holy Trinity is a beautiful medieval Byzantine church built between the 13th and 14th century.
The church is one of the most beautiful landmarks inside the castle. A stone facade perched dramatically on the hillside is picture perfect. It's not usually open, but the caretaker happened to be there, and for a small donation were allowed inside. Most of the frescoes have faded or peeled away, leaving just fragments. So it's not as striking as other churches we've seen, like St. Mary of Bakane, but it's still cool to visit it.
A walk around the perimeter's wall will take you to a breathtaking viewpoint, where you can enjoy panoramic vista of the surrounding valley and river, as well as the city below. Let's take a look, shall we?
After exploring the timeless charm of Berat, our road trip continues southwards to the coast. We're heading to Vlora, a city where the mountains meet the sea. It's one of Albania's oldest cities with lots of history, but it also marks the start of the famous Albanian Riviera.
So we begin our visit at Vlora's Old Town, where colorful streets lined with restaurants and cafes offer a nice environment to stroll around. Near the Old Town, you'll discover the Muradi Mosque, a stunning example of Ottoman architecture dating back to the 16th century. It was built during the rule of Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent, who was the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire from 1520 to 1566. When the Ottoman Empire started breaking up in 1912, Albanians realized that if they didn't seek independence, they would be swallowed up by its Balkan neighbors. On 28th of November 1912, the Albanian flag, the double-headed black eagle on a red background, was raised at the spot that is now called the Flag Square, where you can find the Independence Monument, an imposing bronze cast in the socialist realist style. It commemorates the Albanian Declaration of Independence from the Ottomans in 1912. If you examine the monument in more detail, you will find figures from Albania's history. If you want to learn more about the Albanian independence movement, make sure you venture to the Museum of Independence, located along the harbour front. Housed in the former quarantine hospital, this museum offers a fascinating insight into Albania's journey to nationhood. Inside, you will find the preserved rooms once used by the country's first ministers.
If you've got a car, then there are a couple of attractions just outside Vlora that you could visit. The first one is Kuzum Baba, the city's highest point, and is named after a 17th century Bektashi leader who was buried here. It's considered a spiritual site, but most tourists come here for one main reason: the spectacular panoramic views. From up here, you can see the entire city stretching out to the coastline, with the Adriatic and Ionian seas meeting on the horizon.
But the best side trip from Vlora that I recommend is a visit to Svanek Island nearby, located in the Nata Lagoon, which has been exploited for its salt since the Roman times. The small island is covered in pine trees, and you can only reach it by crossing a long boardwalk. On the island, you'll find the beautiful St. Mary's Monastery, a Byzantine monastery that dates back to the 13th century. The well-preserved monastery was once home to a community of Orthodox monks. After 1967, it was used as an internment camp for political prisoners.
If you can, time your visit for sunset. As the golden light spills across the lagoon and the pine trees glow in the distance, it's an absolutely magical moment. And yes, it's ideal for that perfect Instagram shot as well. Once the sun dips below the horizon, it's time for dinner. Tonight, we're heading to one of Vlora's top-rated restaurants, Ristorante San Giorgio al Porto.
Cheers!
As you would expect from a coastal city, seafood is their specialty. But their risotto is just as impressive. And the best part? The prices are brilliant, easily less than half of what you would pay across the Adriatic in Italy.
Our adventure continues with a drive to the southern city of Saranda, which is a great base for the many unmissable attractions in southwestern Albania.
Today, we decided to take the long scenic route. We'll be driving through the Logara Pass. It's the most winding, dramatic, and arguably the most treacherous route, but it's considered one of the most scenic drives in the Balkans. This road cuts through the Seraunian Mountains, climbing to nearly 1,050 meters above sea level, with sweeping views of the Ionian coastline below. The road itself was built during King Zog's reign in the 1920s, but has been modernized over time. Soon we're about to reach the highest point of the pass, but it's time to have a lunch break first at a highly rated restaurant here.
So just a kilometer before the pass, we are having lunch here at Apollonia restaurant. They are famous for lamb.
Well, the lamb is here. Unfortunately, they have run out of roasted lamb, so we have to make do with grilled lamb.
Oh my god, lamb is really good.
After lunch, we drove another kilometer to the Logara panoramic point. On clear days like this, you can even see Greece. The small islands out there are parts of the Diapontian group, and that much larger one to the left is actually Corfu. Beyond this ridge, the road descends into what many call the Albanian Riviera. We continued our descent through tight switchbacks, the sea now constantly in view. After passing the small towns of Himara, something unexpected caught our attention. Just before reaching Porto Palermo, we stopped our car and got out to have a look. Across the bay, hidden in plain sight, was a striking relic from the Cold War era, a vast submarine bunker carved into the cliffside. Beside it, the remains of an abandoned naval base. You can't go inside, but from above, the entrance is clearly visible. A gaping void in the rock, shrouded in mystery and secrecy. It's remarkable to think how much this country has changed. A few decades ago, flying a drone here would have been unthinkable. Even stopping for photos near a military facility could have raised suspicion. From there, we carried on to the nearby Porto Palermo beach, as there is something very interesting to visit.
Here, you can find an imposing fortress on a promontory, which is connected to the mainland by a narrow causeway.
As you approach, the setting feels almost cinematic. the stone walls rising dramatically from the sea, framed by crystal clear water on all sides. This is Porto Palermo Castle, a structure shrouded in history and speculation. The current form dates to the 19th century and is often attributed to Ali Pasha of Ioannina, a powerful Ottoman ruler. But its distinctive triangular layout hints at earlier, perhaps Venetian origins. And given its exposed position beneath surrounding hills, many believe that early fortification must have existed here long before. Normally, there is an entry cost of 300 lakh, but when we arrived, there was no attendant, so we simply wandered in. The atmosphere inside is raw and unfiltered. With no signage or restrictions, you're left to wander through shadowy corridors and vaulted chambers that echo with centuries of use. During and after the Second World War, the fortress was used to detain prisoners. From the central courtyard, you can see right through all three entryways, a perfect triangle of open space and shadow. But the real reward comes at the top. Once you reach the roof, the view is simply breathtaking. The Ionian Sea stretched out before you, and on a clear day, Greek islands glimmering on the horizon. From Porto Palermo, we continued the final stretch of our drive to Saranda. The scenery gradually shifted from rugged cliffs to more developed coastal towns, though we were still reminded of the region's untamed beauty. More than once along the winding road, we had to slow right down, as our journey was brought to a halt by ghosts blocking the road. They had completely unboarded by the traffic. It was a gentle reminder that, out here, you're very much driving through rural Albania. Soon after, just after dusk, we arrived at our hotel for the next 2 nights, the Demi Hotel. Let me give you a quick look around our room here at the Demi Hotel. We've got a spacious king-sized bed and all the usual creature comforts that you'll expect. We booked a sea view room, which means we also get a private balcony. It's early dusk now, so let me show you the view.
Well, from our balcony, you can actually even see Corfu, the Greek island of Corfu. We actually visited that island a few years ago, and when we were there, we went to Mount Pento crater, and from there, we saw this place, Saranda. It's quite funny, now we are here in Saranda looking back to Corfu. How about that?
The next morning, we woke up to sunshine and clear skies. It's perfect for showing you more of where we are staying. Saranda is often called the heart of the Albanian Riviera. For decades, it's been the largest city in southern Albania and the region's main resort destination, especially popular with locals and visitors from nearby Greece. Until the late 20th century, nearby places like Kastamonu was little more than quiet stretches of coastline. But after the fall of communism in the 1990s, development began to spread along the coast. These days, nearby Kastamonu tends to grab the headlines. It's often nicknamed the European Maldives thanks to its crystal clear waters, soft white sands, and idyllic little islands just off shores. But while Kastamonu is ideal for a relaxed, beach-focused holiday, Saranda offers a different kind of experience. It's a proper town, bigger, livelier, and with far more amenities. There's a seafront promenade, a good choice of restaurants, and a bit of a buzz in the evenings that Kastamonu doesn't really have. We're kicking off our time on the Albanian Riviera with a drive to our first stop, the ancient city of Butrint. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the most important archaeological areas in the country. In fact, this is the most visited archaeological site in Albania. So we're going into the Butrint National Archaeological Park now. Butrym dates back over 2,500 years, and what makes it really fascinating is how many layers of history you'll find here, from Greek ruins and Roman theatres to Byzantine churches and even Venetian defences. The site is massive too, but don't worry, I'll show you the highlights. Tucked among the trees, one of the first things you'll come across is the ancient amphitheatre.
The amphitheatre was originally built by the Greeks in 2 BC and later remodeled by the Romans. It was used for religious ceremonies and meetings with the community. The theatre is actually part of the sanctuary of Asclepius, the Greek god of medicine. The temple here is set on numerous terraces and the ground is really well preserved from 3 BC to this very day, and it's pretty easy to explore. Here you've got what used to be a gymnasium and perhaps a pagan shrine, but later converted into a church. Not much remains now. Here you've got a baptistery. It was made of 16 columns that once supported a wooden roof in the 6th century AD. It's known for its mosaic floor that is in almost perfect shape. However, you can't see it because it's covered in sand. And why would they do that? The reason they do that is because they are protecting the perfect mosaic floor from the elements. You can see a photographic reproduction of this magnificent mosaic floor in the Butrym Museum. This is the Great Basilica. This place was the principal church in the ancient city of Butrym, and parts of it are still well preserved. During Butrym's time of wealth and success, in the 13th century, it was rebuilt and became Butrym's cathedral. Right, the Lion's Gate is next. Let's go check it out. Well, this is the Lion's Gate. There's a picture of a lion here, although I think it looks more like a pig. Right, let's go for it. It's very low here, so mind your head. So we're now going to see the Venetian castle. So in the 13th century, a new castle was built on the hills and it was reconstructed in the 1930s. It now houses the museum. We shall go inside to have a look.
The museum is a perfect complement to the outdoor ruins, adding context and preserving delicate objects that couldn't survive the elements. Inside, you will find coins, tools, and statues that help tell the story of Butrym's Greek, Roman, and Byzantine past. There are also photos and explanation of the famous mosaic floor from the baptistry, one of the site's most remarkable finds. Stepping back outside as the castle, and now the museum, sits at the highest point of Butrym Peninsula, you get sweeping views of the Vivari Channel and the surrounding wetlands, along with a sense of the site's historic defences. Just below, you can spot the distinctive triangular fortress, built to guard the narrow channel and control sea traffic between Corfu and the Albanian mainland. The castle itself served both as a lookout and a last line of defense. And if you are curious to see that triangular castle up close, you can cross the Vivari Channel on a rather unusual cable ferry. It's a slow, simple crossing pulled by steel cables with just enough room for a car or two, but it's a charming sight and a quirky bit of local character. After lunch, we're back on the road, this time heading to one of the area's most popular natural attractions, the Blue Eye.
So we just bought a ticket for going to the Blue Eye. 22 kilometers from Saranda, you can find Albania's most enchanting natural wonders, the Blue Eye.
But many visitors are surprised to find that it's not right next to the car park. To get there, you need to walk around 2 kilometers along a paved access road. It's smooth and easy, but it's more of a scenic hike along the reservoir road than a forest trail. Still, it's all worth it for what's at the end. As we hike towards the Blue Eye, the anticipation builds. And when you finally arrive, that first glimpse really is magical. With crystal clear waters gushing forth from a mysterious underwater cave, it creates a mesmerizing blue hue that seems almost otherworldly.
The source is a natural phenomenon with oxygen bubbles rising up from a karst hole with a depth in excess of 50 meters. You can see that from a viewing platform above.
After the Blue Eye, we drive back to Saranda. And I've got one more beautiful spot to show you for sunset. It will be the perfect way to wrap up our time in the Albanian Riviera.
Well, we're now at Le Kursi Castle. This is a perfect place to see sunset at Saranda. Look at that. If you've been enjoying this video, please don't forget to hit the like button. And do consider subscribing to the channel. By liking this video, you're showing support for more content like this. And subscribing ensures you never miss out on our next adventure. Plus, it's totally free and helps our channel grow, so we can keep bringing you awesome travel insights and experiences.
Today is the final day of this Albania road trip. We really enjoyed our time in the Albanian Riviera, but it's time to head back to Tirana. Don't worry, we're gonna visit another gem on our way to the capital.
1 hour drive later, we arrive at Gjirokastër. Nestled in the heart of the country's southern region, its old town is a UNESCO World Heritage Site renowned for its stunning architecture, rich history, and breathtaking landscapes.
Gjirokastër is often nicknamed the Stone City, and for good reason. Almost every house here is made of stone. Stone roofs, stone walls, and even stone gutters. As we make our way up towards the old bazaar, take a look at the beautiful streets. They feature a distinctive interlacing pattern of black and white stone, most of which was laid by a master stonemason named Simi Lucani and his team between 1960 and 1980. At the heart of the old town is the Old Bazaar. It's not a bazaar in the sense of a chaotic market or souk. Rather, it's a historic commercial street, framed by Ottoman-era stone buildings. These days, the cobbled lanes are lined with shops selling local crafts, hand-woven textiles, carved woodwork, and souvenirs. It's a lovely place to wander, grab a coffee, and soak up the atmosphere. If you have time while exploring the old town, be sure to make a short detour to the Gjirokastër obelisk.
The way up to the obelisk is a little tricky to find. Look for the arched doorway on Rruga Zyrtare and follow the stairs to the top. So you turn left here. That's the arched doorway. And you walk up the stairs. You'll see a sign saying the obelisk. Up this stair, and there it is. So here we are at the Gjirokastër obelisk. Unlike traditional war memorials, this monument actually celebrates the Albanian language. From here, you're treated to a panoramic view that stretches across the entire city and unfolds into the vast expanse of the Drinos Valley underneath. It was built near the historic site of the first school in Gjirokastër in 1908, when learning and preserving the Albanian language was introduced here. Under Ottoman rule, Albanians were not permitted to use their own language in their schools. So this was a very dangerous project at the time, particularly for the teachers who dared to work here. So now we'll head to the castle. Well, the walk up the castle is quite steep on this cobblestone slope. Whew.
Finally, we made it to the castle entrance. After paying the admission fee and squeezing our way through the crowd, we were in. Now we're inside Gjirokastër Castle, ready to explore one of the most iconic landmarks in southern Albania.
The imposing white stone fortress dates back to the 12th century and offers panoramic views of the city below and the surrounding landscape. From its ancient walls and towers to its fascinating museums and exhibitions, the castle provides a fascinating glimpse into the town's storied past. The name of the city actually comes from medieval Greek, meaning silver castle, referring to the distinctive hue of the rock used in the construction of the castle. In the 18th century, the fortress underwent expansion, including the construction of a clock tower, as well as the addition of a church, fountains, and stables within its walls. During the reign of the notorious King Zog, certain sections of the fortress were repurposed into prison cells intended for political prisoners. In the castle yard, you can find an Italian Fiat tank from the Second World War, as well as a United States Air Force T-33 Shooting Star, which was captured here in 1957. We might not really be a museum person, but the Castle Museum is one that you should not miss. The display here were fascinating with English translation, and they were so well written and captivating. I was completely engrossed from start to finish.
After wrapping up our visit to Gjirokastër, we hit the road back towards Tirana. The drive went smoother than expected, and by around 4 p.m. we found ourselves near Apollonia, a place we hadn't been sure we'll have time for. But with daylight still on our side, we decided to seize the opportunity and explore one final site on this trip.
Welcome to the ancient city of Apollonia, a remarkable archaeological site located about 8 kilometers west of Fier. Nestled within the Apollonia Archaeological Park, this site offers a fascinating glimpse into the rich history of ancient Greece. Founded in the 6th century BC as a Greek colony, Apollonia thrived as a center of culture and commerce. Named after the god Apollo, the city grew prosperous thanks to its strategically located harbor and valuable deposit of asphalt used for caulking ships, that's waterproofing it. As we explore the ruins of Apollonia, we'll encounter a wealth of ancient structures, including the portico of a temple, an Odeon theatre, a library, the impressive Nymphu fountain, and the remains of a surrounding wall.
But the most impressive structure at Apollonia still standing has got to be the grand facade of the Bouleuterion, the council house of the ancient city. Its 4 striking Corinthian columns and triangular pediment once formed part of a Roman triumphal arch.
Within the Apollonia Archaeological Park, you will also find the Apollonia Archaeological Museum, which opened in 1958 to showcase the impressive collections of artifacts unearthed at the site. After a period of closure due to security concerns, the museum reopened in 2011, showcasing the ancient treasures of Apollonia, including marble sculptures, frescoes, and archaeological remains. And don't miss the nearby Ardenica Monastery, a stunning Byzantine structure built in 1282 by Emperor Andronikos II. Steeped in history, the monastery was the site of Skanderbeg weddings to his wife Andronica in 1451. Today, visitors can explore the monastery's St. Mary's Church, adorned with exquisite fresco by renowned icon painters Constantine and Athanas Zografi. As we prepare to drive back to Tirana, I reflect on the last few days of this epic road trip in Albania. It's been a journey filled with breathtaking landscape, fascinating history, and unforgettable experiences. Each stop along our journey, whether it was exploring the vibrant blue waters of the Blue Eye or wandering through the old town of Berat, offers a glimpse into the country's rich heritage and unique charm. I hope you've enjoyed the journey with us. If you haven't seen my previous video on Tirana, watch this video next, where I explore some of the most interesting attractions in Albania's capital city. I'll see you over there. Until next time, happy travels!